what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and big news coming out today. Zoids is officially making a comeback. And as a guy who grew up with Zoids, I'm very happy for this. Zoids has been pretty much been on the downslide for over 10 years. Like nothing, like no new series, no new re-releases, no nothing. It's been basically gone since like 2008, really. 2008 or 2007. In terms of being in print, like there's like for Chaos Chronicles, which in my opinion is the best Zoids of the entire franchise. They released the DVDs, which are highly expensive on eBay, by the way. But Zoids has been on the back burner for a long time, basically, and now it is officially coming back. We don't know what the series is going to be about. Also, they announced a video game as well that is coming out too. Now, Zoids has always been marketed for kids. Like, literally, it's always been marketed for kids, including in the Japanese version. Zoids is like one of those like toy line type deals, like they do with Transformers and even to a certain extent Ninja Turtles as well. I mean, they might as well be. Turtles was originally a toy line though, and now it's owned by Nickelodeon. So I'm imagining that this is going to be for kids again. Now, with this news of them making a comeback, I'm curious to see what happens to all the old Zoid series, the old Zoid animes, Zoid Chaos, Chronicles, and Zoid's New Century, most noticeably, are the ones that I'm really curious about right now because they have been out of print since pretty much 07, 08. There were a couple of other Zoid series that they were coming out with. I think it was Zoid's Furzy or something, but it was canceled on Toonami Jetstream. It was a long time ago. And I don't know if they finished it. I was looking stuff up on like eBay to see like if there was any like releases, and I seen some like one where it had the complete series of 26 episodes. I've had conflicting reports about that because if I remember, they only aired a few episodes of that because they pulled Jetstream around that time. And the ones I made, the Zoid series that I mainly remember the two were mainly the two, Chaos Chronicles and Zoid's New Century. New Century actually aired here in the United States before Chaos Chronicles did, even though Chaos Chronicles actually, canon-wise, actually happens before New Century does. New Century actually is the sequel to Chaos Chronicles, but the way it came out here, it got kind of like the Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball treatment, where it was like, Z came out before Dragon Ball did here in the United States. Chaos Chronicles actually was the original, and New Century was like the sequel, because that's why it's called New Century. It's actually in Japan called like Zero New Century or whatever, but they called it Zoid New Century over here. I'm curious to see what they are going to come up with If this is going to be once again like another, new story to Zoids, or if they're going to do a sequel and, to one of these shows, like a direct sequel or even a continuation for that matter. My personal opinion is if they are going to do a new Zoids series, it's going to have to be really good, and it's going to have to come up with something that is going to, want people to watch it, because it's been over a decade since Zoids has been on TV. Literally, it has. And I've been talking to like some people in chats, comments, people that I know, that I'm, that I talk to a lot. And a lot of people don't know anything about Zoids, which is really sad, actually, because it was highly popular in the early 2000s. So I feel like the new series has to be a sequel to Chaos Chronicles, because Chaos Chronicles is the most popular of the series, out of the two, because the two were the best. New Century and Chaos Chronicles were the ones that everyone remembers. They did have Zoids Genesis, which was decent. That one, I believe it was Genesis, if I'm not mistaken. That was what it's called, because Chaos Chronicles was 2 seasons. Technically, Chaos Chronicles was 1 season, and then they had Guardian Force, which was the 2nd season. But in the American version, it was just Chaos Chronicles the whole way through. But in Japan, they had divided them into 2 different shows. But in America, they just called they just called Chaos Chronicles two of the same season, because it was the same show basically. It was the same characters and same plot and everything. So that's what they did back then. I don't know. I feel like they have to do that because Zoids hasn't been around for a decade. It's going to be really hard to market the show now here in the United States. And also, not to mention, it's the old shows don't even have a licensor right now. Like, from what I've heard, the show's been out of print for years. So they don't, currently the old series that were dubbed are not even like owned by a licensor right now. If I'm not mistaken, Viz Media are the ones that own the license for all these Zoids dubs, and they outsourced it always to Ocean Studios, because back in the early 2000s, Viz Media used to give a lot of their titles to Ocean Studios. Now their primary norm right now is to just outsource it to like either Band Zoom or some other LA studio. But back in the early 2000s, they used to do it with Ocean Studios. They used to do commissions with Ocean. Surprisingly enough, though, Viz Media did still outsource the remaining series to Inuyasha to Ocean Studios, so it's not completely out of the question that Viz won't still do stuff with Ocean Studios. But I don't know if it's going to go to Viz or if it's going to go to someone else. Zoids is a show, like I said, it's a toy line type series. They're trying to promote toys for kids. So obviously it's a little different because the series, because anime now, it's not really, marketed for kids anymore, really, for the most part. They don't localize stuff and change stuff for the most part anymore. Zoids had heavily localization to it. I don't know, like I said, if it's a direct sequel, the characters would have to be localized, because if they continue the dub that they have, because I doubt they're gonna redub it. I can't see them redubbing the series, especially if it went to someone like Funimation. They're not gonna redub it. They're not gonna redub the series. They're just gonna bring the old series, back into print. Like they've done with like the recent, like other series like Outlaw Star and stuff like that, because there would be no point. Wouldn't be feasible to reprint it because it's a toy line. It's a toy assembly line, type deal. So, and that's what they're doing for this series. So, but I'm thinking that the best way to handle it, regardless of who gets it, whether it's Funimation or if Viz still has like some type of rights to it, I don't know, because I don't think there ever was an official statement, if they lost the rights if Viz had lost the rights to Zoids or not, or if they still do have like a agreement with the Japanese company that does Zoids, that, if they ever decide to, bring it back, that we get like the first dib of licensing for it. So, that's what I'm curious about too, is if Viz is going to be interested in it now, because Viz is a different company than it was back then. They're not the same company anymore. All the companies have changed now. Funimation isn't the same company that they were in the early 2000s, and Viz isn't either. So, I'm very curious to see what happens with this Zoids video game. I don't know if it's going to be English dubbed. It will be for the Nintendo Switch only, I guess. At least that's what the report says. But if it's for a toy line, if they're trying to promote toy line again, then I would have to imagine it would be because they're trying to promote it for kids. Zoids has always been a show that they've been promoting for like Y7 kids. Unless they're not anymore, but they're not like Gundam. Gundam was a show that that wasn't really a kid show. That wasn't a show that was like targeting kids. Zoids, they were actually trying to target kids to watch. That's why they had always kid main characters. Kids, either kids or teenagers, as like the main characters. That's why they always did that. They were always trying to promote it was always, like a kid. It wasn't. They did do stuff. They had the violence in there and stuff like that. But it was always a kid show. It was always trying to promote it for kids. That was their target audience. Even in Japan, that was always their target audience. So it will be interesting to see where they go with this new Zoids series. I was like, when I heard the news, I was like, because I seen this on, there was a tweet about this Japanese website that made an announcement that Zoids is coming back, and for 2018, and I was like, I had like this, I started having this little tears come out like of joy, because I was like, oh my god, Zoids is back. I was like, I started like literally the first time when I heard, I was like, I just started playing the music. I was like, oh. I've been listening to that for a while now today, because it's just like, I'm so excited that Zoids is coming back. So I'm looking forward to it. If you haven't heard about Zoids, I would check it out somehow. I don't know if you can or not, because it's been out of print for a long time. But it's a really good series. That's all I can tell you. It's a really good series, especially Chaos Chronicles. It's 100 times better than Gundam. Other than Gundam Orphanage right now, that's airing on Toonami. Gundam never really had any good series, in my opinion. I think they're kind of overrated. I've always stick to that. I think Gundam is an overrated series. But you know, and that's the unfortunate thing too, is I felt like Zoids, like, they kind of gave up, because they haven't done, and this is the first show, this is going to be their first new show in like 10 years. It's been literally over 10 years now. '07, they canceled that last Zoids project, and we're in 2018 now. And we haven't heard anything. Everyone, like, a lot of the new generation of anime fans don't know what Zoids is because, it's been gone for a long time now. There's been no new things, no specials, no OVAs, no games, no nothing. It's been just kind of, on the down low. It's been just gone, and now it's finally going to resurface for first time in over 10 years. And, because of that, it's lost a lot of popularity. It was one of the more premier shows out there. So I'm really hoping that this show really will bring Zoids back up. I feel like they have to do, though, some type of sequel that ties in with the original Chaos Chronicles series, because with all these like reboots that are coming up and all these trying to make comebacks, most notably Dragon Ball Super recently. Obviously you can't really compare that, since Dragon Ball Super is like, Dragon Ball is just over everybody, but I mean, like, with a lot of animes that are, in cartoons and stuff like that, are making comebacks and stuff like that, you need Zoids to be like, and that's some type of thing, more characters that people recognize, so to speak. So that's my whole thoughts on this. I'm very happy. I'm hoping that it does really good. And hopefully we hear about someone picking up the license very soon. I would like to see Chaos Chronicles get a Blu-ray release, for sure. So I'm hoping that they'll recycle, print that English dub of Chaos Chronicles that was done by Ocean Studios. Let me know what you guys think. Are you a fan of Zoids? Have you heard of Zoids? And if you haven't, I highly recommend check it out somewhere. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited about this? I know I am. Comment, rate. If you like this video or my other videos, please subscribe. And if you like this, give me a like. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Peace.